Culty country. Sorry we missed you in July. It was just a little busier than we both expected, and it was July 31st, and we were like, So 2 episodes this month. We're going to start this month out with the exploring the little-known Christian movement known by several names: the 2x2s, the 2x2 Church, the Truth, or simply the Way.
There's a lot of identities.
Yeah, but like a lot of identities for not much known about them. It's kind of interesting. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. To some members, it's the closest modern expression of the church described in the New Testament. To many former members, however, it's something very different, a high control religious group with cult-like characteristics. So what exactly do the 2x2s believe? How did the movement begin? And why has it become the subject of growing controversy? To answer those questions, we need to travel back to Ireland in the 1800s. The movement began with a Scottish evangelist named William Irvine. At the time, Irvine worked with an interdenominational missionary organization called the Faith Mission. During his travels, he became convinced that mainstream Christianity had drifted away from the model established by Jesus and the early apostles. Mm-hmm. In particular, Irvine focused on Matthew chapter 10, where Jesus sends his disciples out to preach. The disciples traveled without salaries, dependent on the hospitality of believers, stayed in people's homes, devoted themselves entirely to spreading the gospel, even when facing opposition and persecution. So that's basically what Matthew chapter 10 goes over, how they all just faced all of these things.
And he latched onto that.
Yep.
And said, okay, all right.
Yep. Irving believed these instructions weren't just historical. He believed they were meant to be followed literally by Christians in every generation. That conviction became the foundation of a movement that would eventually spread throughout Ireland, Scotland, England, North America, Australia, New Zealand, and beyond. So basically, it spread all over the world eventually. Unlike most churches, the group adopted no official name, hence why there's like 5. Members built no church buildings, so they don't practice within a church. They have very little literature published, and instead members met in private homes, commonly referred to their faith simply as the truth or the way. And in 1914, despite being the founder, William Irvine began teaching ideas that conflicted with emerging church leaders. Those disagreements became increasingly serious, and eventually Irvine was separated from the fellowship he had helped establish. So he was ousted. Yeah. Leadership passed to religion overseers, and movement continued without him. Today, most members acknowledge Irvine's role in the church's beginnings, but they do not regard him as a prophet or a continuing spiritual authority. So what would have been considered like the cult leader, he's now no longer, like he was ousted. And yeah, I thought that was very interesting.
That's just in my mind. I'm like, that might be another recurring theme in some of these, not all of them, but I'm just thinking of those where that person comes to some demise and there's somebody waiting in the wings to come up. But this is so curious because they don't have a location. So I'm wondering, how are they so organized as a group to even be able to oust?
Yeah, it's all by how I've understood it, and we get a little more into it, is those main parties, the overseers, are the ones that spread the word out, and then it's taught to the workers, is what they are called. The ministers are called workers, and they go out and teach it within the communities and stuff.
And the fatal flaw, I mean, amongst many, just under the idea before we jump into where it is in more current day, is that if you really believe this is what Christians should be doing, and if you really believe all humans should be Christians, then nobody would have a house. to host you. Nobody would be there to be preached to, and then nobody would be making money. Nobody would be running an economy. Like, there's a fatal flaw there.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. It was very interesting to learn more about. So today, most members acknowledge, I said that, sorry. One of the group's most distinctive features is its ministry. Its ministers, known as workers, traditionally travel in pairs, following what they believe is the pattern established by Jesus. Rather than receiving salaries, workers are typically supported by church members and devote their lives to ministry. And instead of gathering in church buildings, again, they meet in those private homes.
So they do have church members, so they don't truly believe everybody should be out there doing this.
Yeah.
Even though it's the foundation of why they started.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So their core beliefs. First, the 2x2s place a strong emphasis on obedience, discipleship, and personal sacrifice. So while many evangelical churches teach salvation through faith alone, the 2x2s generally emphasize that genuine faith should produce a life of commitment, dedication, and obedience to Christ. Second, baptism by immersion is considered an important step in becoming part of the fellowship. Baptisms are typically performed by one of the group's workers, which baptism in most Christian religions is a very big part of it. So that's nothing really surprising, I guess. Third, members are encouraged to live modest, disciplined lives and avoid what they view as worldly influences. Depending on the region, this has traditionally included conservative expectations regarding clothing, appearance, entertainment, and life choices. So historically, the women have often worn skirts, kept their hair long, avoided excessive jewelry, while men were expected to dress neatly and modestly. So it almost, dress is a lot like the Mennonites, things like just very, and they make their own clothing, or, the goal wasn't necessarily a specific dress code, but rather emphasis on humility and avoiding vanity, which kind of, again, follows along with that. While some of these standards have relaxed over time, modesty remains an important cultural value within the fellowship. At the center of many of these practices is the group's understanding, again, of Matthew chapter 10. For most of the Christian churches, Jesus' instructions to the apostles are viewed as part of the specific mission during the first century. For the 2x2s, however, those instructions serve as an ongoing blueprint for ministry today. So they believe that that Jesus established these practices to be followed, and literally not have any sort of changes.
All right, so they're the fundamentalists of the church.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So why could it be considered a cult? One of the most common concerns that people have voiced, past members, people that have left, is the exclusivity. So former members have reported that some within the fellowship believe their group represents only the church fully following God's will, or the only true path to salvation. And critics argue that it's very much of us versus them, which we talked a lot about last month or 2 months ago. Mentality that separates members from the broader Christian community. Another concern is social pressure and conformity. Because the group has no formal statement of faith and relatively little published doctrine, former members say many expectations are communicated informally through tradition, culture, and leadership. So kind of how we talked about. There's nothing for them to necessarily follow in writing other than Matthew chapter 10.
Yeah. And that makes you vulnerable to whichever person is giving you the message. So they could twist it however they want and say it was part of the church.
Yeah. Some ex-members describe feeling pressure to conform to unwritten rules, accepted practices, and even when those expectations were never fully documented. Critics also point to the movement's longstanding lack of public visibility. So it's a very quiet church. We have a family member who they were part of the 2x2s, and we didn't know it growing up. Gunnar and I didn't, or anything like that, but they left the church and everything. But it was they were very closed off from a lot of us at times, and And they had the workers that would stay with them at times and things like that. Like,
did they dress
very modestly, the long hair, everything. Yep. Yeah.
And nobody suspected.
Well, we knew that they were part of something, but they didn't really, and they eventually talked about being part of the 2x2s and stuff, but it really wasn't known about back then in the 80s and 70s. Yeah.
Fascinating.
The church has commonly used no name, no central website representing an entire fellowship, and historically operated with relatively little public exposure. So it's just, again, about the humility, simplicity. But it's also a lack of transparency, because you don't have anything showing in writing. So it is all up for interpretation by whoever is presenting it to you.
There's a part of me that appreciates that, because there's no PR.
Sure.
So I kind of appreciate that bare basic approach. But like I said, I think it leaves a lot of vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
So that's scary.
Former members interviewed by journalists and researchers have described experiences involving fear, manipulation, and discouragement from questioning leadership. And current members often reject those characterizations, saying they simply are attempting to practice biblical Christianity as faithfully as possible. So again, you try to leave and you're getting
guilt and
shame. Yep. There's multiple ways that people, when they are trying to leave, that are different ways their fear is being wrongfully spiritually. So you're being told basically you're no longer going to go. Your beliefs are, the 2x2's beliefs are the only way that you're going to get to heaven. That's the only way to believe. So now you're going to believe wrong, and you are going to be indirectly no longer going to heaven. You lose your friends and your family. We've talked about all of that on other podcasts. You question, there's no questioning of authority, because then again, it will lead to additional,
you're not being obedient. So
you're
not living the life.
Getting pushed out. There's a lot of fear just during even the exit process. So people, they end up questioning themselves. Like, what if I'm making a terrible mistake? Will my family still accept me? What am I supposed to do outside of the church? Because if you leave, like, you no longer have a lot of those things that you're used to. And where do I go from here? Because a lot of people were born and raised in that church and don't know anything outside of that. And so it's just, that fear is very scary. I can only imagine.
Yeah, it might keep you in.
Yeah. And then a lot of that, thankfully, after time, it is replaced by relief. A lot of former members have, in their interviews, have said that they feel more greater personal autonomy, freedom to ask difficult questions, finally, confidence in their own decision making, and the ability to explore faith independently. And some have joined other churches. Some left organized religion entirely, but after they've left and taken some time and figured, done some hopefully therapy, who knows, they've realized it was the right decision for them to make. In the recent years, though, the 2x2s have faced increasing public scrutiny due to allegations of sexual abuse spanning multiple decades. Yeah. So news investigations have documented allegations from numerous former members across multiple states and countries. Some reports allege that misconduct was mishandled by certain leaders and that victims were not adequately protected. The issue gained further attention when the FBI launched a public investigation into those abuse allegations following the fellowship. That was about in 2024 is all.
Oh, wow.
Super recent. But as of today, basically August 2026, no final public report or official conclusion has been released regarding the overall investigation. Individual criminal cases and allegations have emerged, and additional survivors have continued to come forward, but the broader federal inquiry has not publicly reached a final resolution. So nobody's necessarily been arrested fully, no charges.
Must not be evidence.
Yeah. It's also important to remember that allegations against individuals or leaders do not automatically implicate every member, obviously. And many current members have expressed shock, concern, and support the efforts for the accountability, reform, and protecting victims, which is a big deal.
Yeah, that is.
That's, I mean, you would think most of them would not.
Yeah.
Because they're so indoctrinated. And again, that's questioning the leadership.
Yeah.
Because,
yeah. Oh, that's encouraging.
Yeah. And I thought, but I looked into that so much because I was like, okay, I know there's more. There has to be more because, again, our family member could talk a lot about some abuse, about allegations and stuff himself. So it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
So, but I was a little sad when it was like, even as of today, I was like, dang it. There's no actual like final conclusion for anything, which kind of stinks. But
can I ask, and I really should have asked this at the very beginning, when you were saying all the different names that they kind of go by, what does 2x2 correlate with?
So they go in because they go in the twos.
They go in groups of two when they go out. Okay.
Yep. So they go in the groups of two, and then they're teaching the truth and the way.
Okay.
So it's 2x2. Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah,
I should have asked sooner.
No, you're good. And I should have said that sooner. So thank you for asking. Yeah. No, it's interesting the names that they came up with. That's at least what I found within this is that's because they travel in the twos. Okay. And then they teach the truth and the way.
A little bit like Mormon missionaries when they go out in duos, probably not for the same reason, but
yeah. And when they're training new ministers, it's basically like an apprenticeship. So you have the main people, and then they have like a tag along that's going. So you might have 3, but they're then training with those 2 original ministers or workers to learn what they should be ministering to others to pass it along. So it's all like verbal ministry. It's not, that's why other than literally Matthew chapter 10, it's all, and the whole New Testament, because they follow the New Testament.
Oh,
but
that surprises me.
But it's Matthew chapter 10 that they focus on, that why it's literally taken, and that's how they disciple, that's how they teach and everything.
So some of them are stuck in the mud on that, even though it's the New Testament, which was an evolution of Testament. And so they're stuck there, and then some of their factions are like, the world kind of still turns and evolves, and so they've made some accommodations.
Yeah.
And that's like a lot of our religions. They do have factions that break off, and some of them evolve. Some of them are like, I only know what I know right today, and that's all I'm willing to know.
Yep.
And that's crazy. Okay. Yeah. I have another thought at the very tail end about horror films, since we're approaching fall.
Okay. I like it. So in conclusion, is the 2x2s a religion or a cult? It really depends on who you ask, because it could go either way. Supporters see the movement as a sincere effort to restore the simplicity and practices of first century Christian church. They value its home-based worship, emphasis on discipleship, and traveling ministry. Critics, along with former members, argued that groups' exclusivity, lack of transparency, social pressures, and response to controversy reflect characteristics commonly associated with the high control religious movements. Whatever conclusion listeners reach, that you all reach, the story of the 2x2 serves as a reminder that faith communities can inspire extraordinary devotion while also deserving thoughtful examination, accountability, and honest discussion. So it kind of goes into both.
Yeah. I am just having a light bulb moment that, I might look at this and say, I don't feel
fully cult-like.
Yeah, from the exterior, I don't feel like cult. Once you're brainwashed or you're drinking the Kool-Aid, it is a cult for you, because you mentally can't distinguish life outside of it.
Yep.
Like, because it's so agonizing to do that. And the major light bulb is that even any of the ones we've talked about, if you're a child in it, I would say, yes, it's a cult for a child, because a child has no ability to walk away from it safely.
Yeah. And they know no different. They know nothing else.
They don't. And they're at the whim of a parent.
And the ones that become the workers and the ministers, they are more than likely brought up in it. And so they really have no choice, because then they are looked upon and basically asked to become the ministers and the workers, because they see them as being spiritually enlightened and things. And so it's not like you join the church tomorrow and you're gonna in a year go out to be a minister and worker and be an apprentice for that. Like, it's usually those kids that are brought up, so then it's even harder for them.
Yeah.
Like you said.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
Are we ready for a culty check-in?
I think so.
Okay. What, if anything, did we admire about what we learned about the 2x2/4 other name?
Yeah. Right. I do think that it is inspiring, at least, that with the recent controversy, it does appear that some members
they want accountability.
They want that accountability, because there are other organizations that current members don't want that accountability. And I'm sure there's some still within the 2x2s, but I think that says a lot that there are people that are trying to fight for the victims and get some sort of,
and thinking independently a little bit. So that's healthy.
Yeah.
I would admire the no PR.
Yeah. Yeah.
So two good things about this organization. I like that they're off the grid, so to speak, and a little more human to human connection instead of human through computer connection.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I admire that. What do we think they need to work on or change?
Well, probably getting some of those allegations actually finalized and keeping more evidence to be able to actually do something for those victims. But I would also say, if that is how you believe, like, no, you don't have to do the PR and things like that, but put things in writing. I think that would at least,
so your message doesn't get twisted going out. I like
that. If this is how you're literally reading things from the Bible or how you're preaching, I think having something in writing to then be able to teach and pass on, so things aren't getting misconstrued or twisted.
If I'm 4 states away from the person making the directive of how we have to dress, it would be nice if that was in writing, so everybody got the same message. For me, the thing they could improve on is around dress and attire, because I know that they talk about modesty and not drawing attention, but that has even become a look now in our society. Like Target had prairie dresses. They had like, that's now a look. So if that's the case, and that could be very appealing and attractive to any faction of humans, because everybody likes something different. Just let people be who they are. Maybe women want short hair. Maybe they want, I don't know, maybe they want to wear short sleeve or pants. For Pete's sake. Let just women wear pants.
Yes.
So that'd be my recommendation for change. And stop abusing people. That would be another recommendation. Maybe if they did document their protocols, they could document that you should not be doing those behaviors, or you will not go to heaven. That would be, if you're going to control people, control it for the greater good.
Definitely.
All right. So
would you join?
I would not join. I'm just not a drinker of the Kool-Aid about any religion. And I most certainly would not want somebody telling me I had to wear a skirt or a dress for the rest of my life, because I'm a pants girl. So and I like my shorts. I do too. Tank tops. I know. I was like, I don't have a tank top on today, but tank tops and shorts. All day. And I really wouldn't join too, because what if tomorrow they pick a different section of the Bible to focus on, and then that's the only thing we're going to live for the rest of our days, and I don't agree with that. That's well, I mean, there's some very scary parts of the Bible. Like for women especially. It could be, if they then changed and latched onto that could be a very, very scary thing. So would you join? No. Okay. All right. Absolutely not. Also, same thing. Just, I like my shorts and my tank tops. I like to be able to freely think and have my own thoughts and opinions and beliefs. And so to wrap up, thinking of, we're heading into fall, which we like our scary movies and our family. The 2x2, I immediately thought of that Hugh Grant horror film with the two Mormon missionary gals that go to the door.
Yes. What is that movie called?
I don't know.
I'll
But
have to look at it.
I think about how smoothly he got them to agree to enter the home. And I thought, well, I wonder if they're doing a 2x2, like they go out in twos. But then I had another day at a house in another state where some Mormon members stopped by, I think, to drop off cookies. And I think there was a gaggle of them. So I think it was like 3 or 4 of them, mix of male and female. So that, well, I guess if it was 3, they could have been. Maybe they do follow something similar, but I think that was just a goodwill gesture from the church. And I'm not Mormon. I'm not former Mormon. I just had a roommate that was. So that's where that involvement in cookies came from. But probably scared him away being a girl, living with a guy, and weren't in a relationship at all, just friends. Yeah. Probably freaked him out. But yeah.
Not used to that.
Yeah. And I haven't had Mormons come to the door, not in the neighborhood I grew up in, and not in the last 2 I've lived in here.
Yeah, same.
But over off of Ridge Road, a couple of Mormon missionaries stopped by when I was hanging out at a house. And I was like, I have never had them come to any of my houses.
I've had Jehovah's Witness come to the house before.
I think they used to go to my sister's house, and my brother-in-law made the mistake of letting them in once. So then they
came back.
They felt comfortable entering all the time, and it just got awkward.
Yeah.
But yeah. And here I've just had one woman stop by and leave me a card. I can't even remember what church it was for. It wasn't for any of the major door-to-door type churches. So she just must have felt compelled.
It's always interesting how the missionaries that go door to door and things like that, how they choose the houses they go to, what they choose to send or leave or any of that. Like, it's always interesting to me.
Yeah.
How they go about making those decisions. Because
that's a really good question. I'm going to add to the questions I'm going to ask in a couple episodes of the person we're going to interview. Because they will know. Yeah. They'll know from their church's perspective, not necessarily from all evangelists, but that very is true. Good. Yeah. Well, this was, I like it. Good. Yes. A little family connection there.
Yes.
Our next episode, which will be released shortly after this, since we're trying to play catch up, I'll be looking at the World Mission Society, Church of God. Yep. So you'll see us in the same outfits.
Yes. Don't worry. We have showered. Not between. Thanks, guys.
Have a good night.